Hi, my name is Audrey Stellar. This is my channel, and here we go. So, what to talk about today? You know, I could go into the story about how I lost my virginity, which I feel like is important lore for me. There's an ant. Why is there an ant on me? I could go into some of my paranormal experiences. Let's get into it. I don't want to speak for anyone else's experience. Why did that turn on? Okay, that was weird. Oh, that squirrel almost got murked. Okay. I don't want to speak for anyone else's experience. Like me, myself, and I, you know, we can chicken or egg myself all day. Did I become an S worker because of X, Y, and Z? Or am I an X worker because of, you know, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, O, P. But here's the thing. I grew up in an era where there were PORN pop-ups on the screen. Okay, I don't know if y'all are the same age as me or what's going on. My last video, I had a piece of spinach in my teeth the whole time, and I still uploaded it because I'm brave. I grew up in the early internet days, okay? Like 2 girls, 1 cup vibe, and that really, it traumatized me the way it did for a lot of people. But I became obsessed with traumatizing myself from the internet. And then I would feel really guilty about it. And another thing about me, I grew up really Catholic, like extremely Catholic. Like my mom was my Sunday school teacher, etc. And then when I was 8 years old, she read the Da Vinci Code and became a conspiracy theorist overnight, allegedly. She watches these and she does not want me to talk about her. But Mom, if you're listening, I love you and you know that. But here's the thing. So like my entire ontology did a 180 when I was 8 years old, and your girl went a little cuckoo, right? My OCD really flared up times a million then, and not the cute kind of OCD, more of the Maria Bamford type of OCD. I'm like, okay, actually, let's get into AIM/AOL. Anybody here remember their old screen names? Mine was like Cotton Candy something. And I would go into chat rooms because I was in a really small town, really rural area that was kind of haunted. And I would go into chat rooms and like talk to people about ballet class. And I didn't realize I was like ripe for the plucking for all of the like creepy To Catch a Predator types, right? And they would like send me D pics and stuff, and it was so traumatizing. But I knew it was wrong, and it made me feel bad, and I knew it was not a good way to be spending my time as like a 9-year-old. But I kept on going back into it. I don't know why. Maybe because I was so desperate for information about sex education, and that wasn't happening in my school, that wasn't happening at home, and I was desperate for answers because I would like see snippets of things in movies and be like, wait, y'all are lying to me? I think it's crazy that we all lie to children about how they arrived here. Like, okay, let's feed them some stork story, that'll tie them over for a minute. Like, why are we lying? I understand that like it's too early and it's not appropriate to be telling children about sex, but me as a child, I was really desperate for answers, and I could tell that people were lying to me, and I just didn't understand why. Long story short, I got caught in these chat rooms, and my siblings like saw it over my shoulder, and they were like, what are you doing? And I immediately projectiled out of pure shame and embarrassment. And then I was grounded for a year. I wasn't allowed to have a screen name, which like arguably looking back, I shouldn't have had a screen name or internet access in the early internet, which was like the wild, wild west in elementary school. Like that is way too young. That is way too young. Yeah, I was definitely exposed to things well before I should have been. And you know, it's crazy. Like I think about how insane the internet is now and how you can like see absolutely horrible and horrifying things like on Twitter, for example. But it was like I was trying to be on Club Penguin as a child. I'm on Club Penguin, and then all of a sudden a pop-up shows up to me, a girl just spread open. Just completely spread. And I'm like, whoa! So, you know, some could argue my exposure to graphic early internet, porn and violence and snuff, etc. and scat, lots of scat, altered my brain in a way, which led to me being like addicted to porn as a person. Not gonna say what age that was happening, but I think the peak of my porn addiction happened in 2018. All I did that whole year was goon. I was unemployed. It was just goon city. And I gooned too close to the sun, right? Like I never thought I was going to be a porn star myself. I was merely a fan. And then I gooned too close to the sun. I was like the Nardwuar of porn. And then I just woke up one day in a browser set, right? It all happened so fast. But anyway, I wanted to talk about how I lost my virginity. So I just felt like desperate for information. I was the youngest child out of my whole entire family. I just like was sick of being treated like, oh, you can't watch this, you can't do that because you're young, blah, blah, blah. So I was just like desperate to like grow up and be seen as an adult, basically. So it's like classic story. If I could go back, I wish that I just would be a child and was in a place that was safe enough for me to be a child. But so, you know, at this point in middle school, I was like the only girl that was like in my friend group that was like not hooking up with boys, to the point where they would like make fun of me, and there was a lot of pressure around that. And then going into high school, I was like, I'm ready to lose my V card, and I decided that like, okay, I need a boyfriend first. Right? First things first. And I was like, okay, who's going to be my boyfriend? So I was choosing, there were these like the two cutest boys in my school, which in my school, that's really not saying anything. The pickings were slim. A lot of great people in my school, no shade, but the two cutest boys in school were, also, let me say that I was a ugly duckling. Like I got really made fun of for my acne. So I was choosing between two boys in my grade, and I said, I know I'm gonna allegedly send them both the same titty pic, and whoever gives me the better response is the one that I will, you know, make my boyfriend and lose my virginity to. So one boy responded with like a poem. It was so sweet and thoughtful and kind of cringy, but it was like a long paragraph poem, like, I'm gonna lay you down in a bed of grass, blah, 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 picnic, blah, 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 caressing, blah, blah, blah. And then the other one was just like rockin' tits, OJ. And I was like, I choose you. That sounds fun. And I ended up dating him for like 4 years. And it's just so crazy. Like he gave me a promise ring when I was 14. We were locked in for a while. I eventually broke up with him because we had a threesome with my best friend. And I remember like watching him, you know, take it from behind while she's munching. And I was like, wow, I should break up with him. Like, why am I not jealous? You know what I mean? I didn't know about the world of polyamory at the time. And now I'm not interested in polyamory as an adult, but in my early 20s, I was, you know, I was like a unicorn there for a minute. Like, and you know what? Couples love me, and I love couples, and that will never change. But anyway, blah, blah, blah. So I lost my virginity pretty young at 14. I also wish I had like waited a little bit longer. I mean, I don't know. It's a better story than most, where like they like saved it for a while and then like finally gave it up. And then the person that they gave it to like ended up being a huge disappointment, or like just used them for a romp in the sack. So I am grateful that like we had a good bond and we really trusted each other, and we both were gooners. Love you. Thank you. Bye.